Welcome to the Points Performance Podcast. This week, I'm joined by Daniel Paterson. Daniel, I've known you for a couple of years. I've only ever actually met you once. Could you introduce yourself, please, mate?
Of course, can, matey. Yeah, Daniel Paterson, co-owner of Wakefield CrossFit since 2013. Peer personal trainer, and used to own Rep It Out, which is when I first met you, and I think that was the first competition. Sorry, my dog's just coming over. Right, sorry. Yeah, so I think that's where I met you, and you actually went on and won it. So fair play, mate.
Yeah, it was a good day. That was that 2018.
2018 it was, yeah.
Was it October? The missus is agreeing it was because Laura, my wife, was pregnant with our daughter Thea at the time. So she's
right,
sat there all day, loving it, obviously.
Well, at least you won it, mate.
I know. Yeah, it was a good day that with me and my mate Richard Horton. It was good. It's good.
Yeah, you both did really well, mate. I remember from that comp, I was obviously watching the top athletes compete, and I was like, I can get on with this guy. Like, he seems like a true guy. He's a great athlete, and you absolutely bossed it that day, mate. It was good.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for not putting any heavy lifting in as well. So we'll skim over that. So, mate, we obviously stayed in touch a little bit after that comp, the old Stalker book and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we've talked back and forth a little bit since. So this chat's just today is just to talk about how your life has been as a gym owner. It's a friend, Paul, isn't he? Who you own your gym with?
He is, yeah. So basically, we met when I joined Village Health and Fitness. He was team leader at the time. He employed me as a personal trainer there. So then we got to know each other. I stayed there about 18 months, realizing that you can't fucking make any money working for somebody else. So then we decided that we were going to go on his own. So we opened his own PT studio, physique personal training. And that was in 2009, 2010. Obviously we worked together since, and then in 2013 we opened Wakefield CrossFit, and then the rest is history since then.
Brilliant. And what's it like? What's it like owning a gym with your mate? Is it stress? Is it like, do you ever like get at each other, or is it always
not well
right?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll know the same, mate. Like you can always have differences, but the thing with me and Paul is we're very much on the same page with everything. I think in what, the 8 years that we've owned CrossFit, and the 12, 13 years that we've actually worked together, all in all, we've probably had about 3 crosswords, really.
Yeah.
And like guys, like you have a bit of a discussion and you talk it out, which is how everything should be resolved. And then you just come to a conclusion. And normally, if one of us explains their point of view, and you articulate it well, then the other will come on board, or you find a way to meet in the middle somewhere. But yeah, mate, we get on well. He's a good pal, and I trust him basically with my life. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's ace to hear that, mate. And that's why you've got such a successful gym that's been going for a long time, because as we know, not all CrossFit gyms last forever. They do rise and fall quite a bit, and they have in our area. Certainly, there's always been like a couple of gyms that pop up, and then eventually they close or whatever, and then we take a few of their members. Cool. So what's it been like with your members over the last year or so then?
So I mean, our community is really strong, and we're very proud of that, to be honest. Obviously, like anything, you get a natural drop off of members with any gym. The problem with, obviously, when you're on lockdown is you can't replace those members. So you're just getting a natural drop off, and then you obviously get the certain people who are maybe not that well involved in the community, who will cancel or freeze the membership, which is fine and understandable. But yeah, credit to like us as a gym as a whole, and our coaches and our community. Most of them, the majority of the members wanted to stick by us because they wanted to see us up and unsolicited wash by if it ever does. But yeah, so yeah, we're very proud of it, and a lot of them are still with us, mate. They're brilliant members.
Brilliant. Yeah, that sounds really similar to our box. Sounds really similar. Like we had a few guys who've actually moved jobs or moved job roles, moved away, stuff like that happens. Then a few people drop off, like you said, who they might not have been at the gym as long, something like that.
Yeah.
And they just think, oh, it's just a gym membership. Whereas the majority of the members are like, nah, this is way more than a gym, and I want it to be there when if all this ever ends. And obviously, to a point, it has ended, and everybody can come back to the gym. And hopefully that continues to forever, because we both know how important it is to be healthy. And really, like, it carries more value than any sort of wealth, I'd say.
100%, mate. Yeah, can't agree with that more.
So, mate, I was wondering, I've always wanted to ask you this. You did rep it out for a couple of years. Like, it grew into like one of the bigger competitions in the UK. You've got a couple of them, like Rainhill, that does really well. It's always full. Rep it out's always full. Like, you've always got enough competitors. Mm-hmm. What happened? Like, why did you decide to knock it on the head?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I come from health and fitness background. One of my clients works in events, so that's how we formed the company in the first place. I went to Battle of the Beast one year, and I looked at how it was run, and then I thought, well, you can bring that side of it, I can bring the CrossFit side of it. It's doable. We can create a business from this. Like a lot of competitions start, I think they probably look at it from an external point of view, and then think that looks all right, that looks quite easy, and it looks like it's really profitable. When in fact it's the absolute opposite.
It is not.
Oh God, mate. So yeah, we started in 2015. We started really small, but yeah, we managed to do really well on social media. We got a lot of good attention from it. We had some really good athletes in the first year, I think, which helped. And then obviously that gets you exposure to everybody else.
Yeah.
First year, I don't expect to earn a lot of money, if at all. We didn't make much to break even. Was quite happy with on the first year.
Yeah.
So then it's all about, well, as you know, starting a business is never going to happen overnight. It's got to be done over many, many years and a lot of hard work. But I wouldn't say I underestimated how much work went into it, because I know any business to be successful needs a lot of graft, but it's just months and months of work, mate, like hours and hours of your time. And me being a little bit of a control freak, I tried to do everything myself as well. And also you need to do everything yourself, otherwise you're not going to earn any money from it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, second year came about 2016. It grew, and we keep adding to it. And obviously, as the business keeps growing and the event keeps growing, you've got to add more. You've got to add more branding. You've got to add more matting. You've got to get better equipment. You've got to get better contacts. You've got to get better t-shirts. And it's just basically a hungry animal that can never be full. Yeah, and it's craft, mate. So 2016 good, 2007.
Well, like you're constantly thinking about it. I did a little one at our gym. We were like, there was probably like 40 teams or something like that, 40, 50 teams. And it was just 3 months of worrying just all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you do them in-house, obviously it's not any less stress, but you've got at least a few things that are taken off your back, in the sense
less to
that
think about with the facility.
Yeah. Your venue's going to be there.
Do you remember,
it's already kitted out.
Do you remember the Compete Force worms?
Yeah.
So we that comp, I think it was your comp and my comp at the time. That James Guyen dropped in. You think he lives in Mallorca? He dropped into CrossFit 3D and he started talking about it. So I got in touch with him.
Yeah.
And asked him if we could use his worms at the comp, and that's where he started. But I think he's done a few big comps with them now. I feel like he's done Battle for Middle Ground, Rep It Out, and all that sort of stuff. So I think he started that there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I remember him starting that. I think, did he go to Rainhills as well once?
Yeah, the team Rainhill, I think.
Yeah. And then, he was a nice guy and really got involved and backed it the whole way, which is what you want basically from a sponsor and a kit supplier. And he was brilliant, and we had no trouble with that. I think the main issue with the competitions is, as I say, I'm a bit of a control freak, and when it's in your hands and you can control it, there's only yourself to blame. When you have external factors and you have different components coming from everywhere, you have kit coming from somewhere, you have matting coming from somewhere, you have logistics, you have branding, you have the platform for it to work on, the leaderboard, you need Wi-Fi connection. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different variables and so many different components, and something goes wrong every freaking year. And it was, oh mate, I cannot tell you the amount of stress that I used to go through, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist like that, and I want it to be right. And basically it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be something that goes wrong. And as a business owner, you have to be adaptable. That's fine, I accept that. But when it's out of your control and you literally can't control that, it's horrible. And yeah, mate, I'd say that I were close to being like ill every single year that I did it. So once it was over, and that day that it's on, because we only used to do a 1-day competition. Every year I said, well, I'm going to do a 2-day competition. And then after I'd done that year, I went, I'm not doing a 2-day competition because I can't do that for 2 days. So then I get back to the gym and then you go back to your own life. And yeah, just like almost ill. And one year I was ill after it, and I never get ill. This is the thing. So I was like, this isn't good for me, like stress wise.
Stress is through the roof for a good few months there, isn't it? And I bet you'd like dread it. You're like, you think it was October, wasn't it? And I bet you dread, like, you get to like July and you're thinking, oh shit, I've got to start ramping up for rep it out again now. It's like start the social media stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, to be honest with us, mate, it used to start in March because we used to try and advertise it all the way through the year.
Because you got qualifiers and all that.
Yeah.
I remember I travelled up to my mate's. He lives in the middle of nowhere. So he lives in like the Lake District, but it's like wherever. So basically we travelled to his house on a Thursday morning, and we just did all the qualifiers in one day. And then
did you?
Back. Yeah.
Oh, that's a slog, isn't it?
Yeah. It was a good day, to be fair. We had a laugh and we were very sore, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah, you did really
and the best
well,
thing about that day, mate, was that we absolutely battered Craig Ritchie and his mate, whoever he was doing it with. That was class. I think he did like a bit of a. I think he did a bit of like he does his vlog, doesn't he? Which is well successful, and the video was proper crying about it, and I was just like, get in. We've had him.
Take the win off that one, mate. Yeah, no, you did really well, mate. It was beauty. Because I didn't know of you then, and you just bossed it that day. It was really good to watch. And to be honest, your training partner, I remember looking at him because I don't know, maybe I'm being judgmental, but he didn't look like a stereotypical CrossFitter. So then when he was
phenomenal athlete, Richard, so strong, brilliant. Mate. I remember because so we had the same coach at that time, who owns CrossFit 3D, my mate Madders, and he sent me these videos. I think he did like a 10 rep max back squat at like 160 or something. And he's so strong, mate. We call him Harry Squatter. I mean, you remember him? Like, he looks like hench Harry Potter. But yeah, he's back squats over 200K, like 2-minute Fran, over 200 calorie, 10-minute assault bike. He's a super, super fit and lovely bloke as well. Just become a dad last year. Top bloke.
Yeah, you both did really well. Do you still see him a lot?
Just chat, mate. As I said, he lives in like a forest in the middle of nowhere. So lives in
probably the best place right now.
He lives in this proper like cut off area, lovely area, just like so beautiful. But yeah, it's a very long way away. So we went and watched just before all this crap started. We went and watched John Mayer at the MEN, and that was the last time I saw him. So
that was a while ago,
a little while ago, that, mate. I can't remember when it was, but it was just before anyway.
Just before, So to like summarize with that, mate, I just had enough of it. So I think the 2018 was the year that you did it, but that was the year that killed me because what people won't know. And obviously you get a lot of shit on social media afterwards. You get entitled CrossFitters who think that they're better than they are. But they're not. They're just amateur CrossFitters at the end of the day. And, some people kick off about the pricing. And I'm like, you actually have no idea how much it costs to run an event like this, let alone the profit margins in it. But, I mean, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And I suppose it is quite hard to take criticism on something you actually love.
You put your heart and your soul into it, mate. Like you've really
Absolutely, yeah,
gotten
yeah.
into it for
And
months and months. I remember there was like I remember, I think it was because I think you did it for one more year after
yeah,
I did it, and obviously then it stopped.
yeah,
But I remember there was one girl who'd like had a bad call from a judge or something like that, and she was going off, and it went off a little bit online. I remember some very funny posts.
it did,
I
mate.
remember
Yeah.
a very, very funny post that you did. I don't know if you want to go into that or not, but that absolutely killed me. You know, when you're like crying at your phone, like so funny.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that year that you did it, literally the day before, when we were setting up, we ordered 55 of the gym mats to arrive, and I'd rung the company the week before, and I said, everything's due for delivery. Yeah, happy days. Yes. So I came to the Saturday, no show. They didn't show up, mate. So months and months of planning, and you've got 5 hours to set an event up, and basically your flooring of the event didn't show up. So I ordered the same matting that we've got in the gym. So in that 5 hours, I had to grab a truck off somebody, drive back to my gym, rip my whole gym floor up, and take that back to the event, and then lay it down, and then drive after the event to drive back to the gym to lay it all down at like midnight or whatever, so that it was ready for the next day's classes,
Yeah,
and just shit like that, mate. It's like, I don't need this. You know what I
gonna make anyone ill, mate. That's gonna really
mean? Oh,
stress you
mate.
out.
So that was it, yeah. And yeah, you're right. The year after, without going into names, there was a certain delightful female who decided to take to social media basically, and then other people who weren't there got involved. And the thing with me, mate, I'm happy. You can say what you want about people, but don't expect me to sit there and just take it. You're gonna get something back if I think that you're in the wrong. So
People in
yeah,
glass houses, mate.
yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So I had a lot of dirt on a certain person, whether they deny it or not. I know it to be true because they're in my gym as well. So I decided to just give it a little bit back, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very funny, and I think if anyone remembers that, it was really funny. But we won't
It
go
was well
into
made, and I think it got quite a lot of shares and a lot of attention. So yeah,
mate. I was
it's quite happy.
Yeah,
I was
I
quite
think
happy with
about
that
that sometimes, and it makes me happy. Yeah. So part of the reason we've connected over the last year and a half, back and forth, has been mainly to do with a lot of the stuff that's going on in all
Yep.
of our lives at the minute, whether we like it or not, and
Yep.
things we see on social media from the government, you know, that just affects our daily lives. And I think that
Yep.
we really connected over that. And I don't really, we can go into it. I'm not really too bothered about going into it, but I want to try and like talk about why we connected as like people, as men, as lads, blokes, whatever it is. Because I think that'd be, because like when I met you and you met me, we saw, like you said like earlier, like, oh, here's a bloke I could get on with here. But I think there's like really, really important reasons for that, because I really
Yeah.
value people who do speak the mind. I value people who are brave enough to say what's right. I value people, and I admire people who say what they feel when they feel it's right
Yeah.
to say so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really why I've carried on talking to you, and I wanted to invite you on today, really, because you seem like a bloke I'd want in my zombie apocalypse team, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I suppose, like anything, you're never going to get on with everybody. But the same with you, buddy. Yeah, I appreciate people who are honest to themselves, and if somebody thinks that something's not right, then they'll stand up and fight their corner and say, well, yeah, it's not right, and this is why it's not right, and they'll back it up with facts and evidence and science rather than made up bullshit.
Just repeat, you know, well, the guy on the telly said it, so, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 I've watched the news 5 times today, and the guy said that we need to do this, so we've got to do this.
Yeah, it's absolutely maddening, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that quality in men in particular, I do admire, is that they, you know, whatever it is in life, whatever set of values or principles that they hold themselves to, is that they hold themselves to them all the time. And no matter what situation you're in, you don't relent. So for me personally, like, I know that there's absolutely no reason to wear a mask anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't wear one.
Yeah.
And then I have people telling me, well, I do it to make people feel better. I'm like, well, that's just ridiculous, because you're not making anyone feel better, really. What you're doing is you're prolonging the fear, and you're increasing the fear in that person, and the feeling that they should be doing it also. So it's just things like that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've exactly the same, mate. I mean, through all of this, without going into too much detail, just things like holidays. I mean, people saying about getting, jabbed. I'd say 80% of the people that I speak to have only gone and got the vaccination because they want to go on holiday. Whereas my number one thing in life that I like doing is traveling. But I will not be held to ransom to take something that I don't believe. Well, I know for a fact I don't need, and I don't want. So why should I do that? Just for the sake of being able to go on holiday. So I will do without. I mean, I will find a way around that anyway, because there's always a way. And if you're willing to find it, you will do. But I'm willing to just say, well, tell you what, I'll take a break from holidays for the next however many years, if that's the case, because I won't. It's just against my principles. I can't abide by that. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, someone said to me, so I'm getting on a little bit now, and I'm going to be a master next time we do the Open.
Yeah.
And one of my like long-term goals has always been to qualify as a master when I'm 35. And one of the lads said to me, would you take the jab to get to the States to go and do the CrossFit Games? And I was like, not a fucking sniff. No chance. And even that, like, because my principles are more important than my goals. My values are more important than my goals.
And that's admirable, mate. Yeah.
It would be wank, wouldn't it? Like turning that email down and saying no. But, at the end of it, like, why would I sell my soul for something like I agree with, I'm pretty much on the same boat as you on the, the same understanding. Like, there's no reason for me to take it. It doesn't benefit anyone other than line the pockets of certain people and certain pharmaceutical companies. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm just another statistic then in the experiment, and I don't want to be part of it. So I won't be doing it.
No, fair play to you, mate. But I do believe there'll be a way around it somehow.
I think so as well, mate. And I also think that it might get fobbed off eventually as well. Like, I think that a lot of what you see in the news at the minute is just like scare mongering and tactics, like, oh, double vaccinated people can get through Heathrow Airport quicker. Piss off, mate. How is that going to work? Like, that's not going to work. Have you seen Heathrow Airport? When you go through, it's chaos. Do you know what I mean? It's like, have you got a weapon? Have you got any cocaine? No. Sound, get out. You get through when you get through.
Of course you do, yeah. And the biggest thing, mate, is fear. The media has done this to everybody. Fear equals compliance. It's as simple as that. And the way that they can get everybody on board is through fear. They've done it all along with how dangerous this non-deadly virus is, and that you will die if you get it, or you've got a very strong chance, no matter how healthy you are. Bollocks. And also, you will get on holiday if you have this jab. Well, guess what? I'm going on holiday next week. I found a way to get on holiday. I got a ticket for the England game last night. It said you can either have double proof of vaccination or you can have a negative test. Well, guess what? I didn't have a test. I went on there. I got a lateral flow freaking test. I've never done one before, so I had no idea. I went onto the government website. I put in my details. I didn't create an account. I didn't do the lateral flow test. I get to the end of the freaking the form that you have to fill in, and it says, were you positive, negative, or unconfirmed? So guess what? I ticked negative. I then got a text message to say you are negative. I went to Wembley Stadium. The guy at the front had a quick look at my phone. It happened to say my details on it. It could have said anybody's details on it. The word he was looking for was negative. I got let into the stadium. I could have had anybody's name on that. I could have not done a lateral flow. I could have copied and pasted some other guy's email from last year. The word he was looking for was negative. I was not negative. I mean, I am negative, but I wasn't. The fact is, it's flawless. There's flaws. Sorry, it's not flawless. There's flaws in every system, and this is a rush-through system, and it's terrible. There's flaws in it, and no wonder that our cases, mate, are so fucking high, because I'm allowed to swear on this, all right?
Of course you are, mate. Crack on.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. So no wonder the cases are so high when people can just go on, not even do a test, and just click positive and go, do you know what? I fancy a week off work this week. Happy days. I'll stay at home and get paid.
And you don't have to scroll that far through any sort of like post on Facebook to find a lot of people saying yes. And like the football at the minute, England are through to the final. I saw a load of comments like, I'm going to book another week off furlough. I think I've got a cough. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
People are just taking massive advantage of it. And those are the people who hate the life and don't like going to work. And
yeah,
you know, which is
absolutely
another thing, isn't it? Like, you know, if I was in my old job that I hated, I'd love a load of time off. I absolutely hated it. But obviously, got off my ass and did something about it, like you did. You know, you do a job you love. You know, sat behind a desk wishing the time away, which is where most people, unfortunately.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, and that was one of the points I wanted to cover, and I'm sure you've covered it many times in many conversations. But that's exactly right, mate. Yeah, most people don't like the life. Most people are employed, hate going to work. They wake up on a Monday morning, dread going to work, can't stand the job, can't stand the people they work with. Might not even go on holiday. So this hasn't really affected a lot of people. Whereas if you are a successful business owner and you love your job, or you're adventurous and you live your life full, this has had a massive effect on people. But unfortunately, we're in the minority. So most people like. I am generalizing, but the majority of people don't like doing shit. They just like sitting at home, and they're quite happy to sit at home and get paid. Especially the first lockdown when it was sunny. It's like being on holiday. It's like I get to sit in my paddling pool and drink beer every day, and I get paid for it.
Yeah, that's so sad, isn't it? And that's why you've got like, and I've had it loads of times. Even mates who are like, I got jabbed to go on holiday because the lives are crap. The holiday, the 2 weeks a year they go away is an escape. It's like, oh, I can get away from a life that I hate, and then back to it, and then I can earn enough money for another holiday next year. That's really sad. It's really sad, isn't it? We live for 2 weeks out of 52.
Absolutely, yeah.
I hate thinking that.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's a waste of life, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, if you spend the majority of your day awake, you spend it doing stuff you don't like to do, then what sort of life is that? It's slavery.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, we had a girl who's just left the police to come and be a coach down at our place, and I had a chat with her a bit ago, and she was like, I hate my job. And I said, well, do something about it then, because nobody else is going to do it. It's your life. You've only got one life. What's the point? And I used that same analogy. I was like, in a day, you sleep for 8 hours, you work for 8 or 9 hours, and then you might train, and then maybe sit on the sofa. As I said, so the majority of your awake life is at work. So why are you doing something that you absolutely despise? So she's moved over, mate, and she's happy as she's ever been. So
respect for that, mate. That's absolutely brilliant.
Just
and
have
it is
the balls
hard.
and go do it.
It's not easy, is it? Like, I've told this story too many times on this podcast. I did it. 5-year-old mortgage. No, and I literally had one client I was training for free in 3 classes I was coaching, and was like, right, let's fucking go. Let's figure it out. Wasn't prepared to live a shit life anymore. And obviously not everyone can quit and become a PT or a CrossFit coach. And please think carefully about becoming a CrossFit coach, because that's a very, very tough thing to make a living from. As you know, if you don't own a business as well, it's a very, very difficult thing to make a living from. Very tough. But
whilst being very rewarding at the same time.
100%. If you can, if you work hard enough, you can make it happen. It's just that there's not a very high success rate of it.
No, you're right.
And that's a whole other podcast in itself. You've got to have many strings to your bow for that one. But I mean, like, you know, it would be great if most people found something they loved and then built a life around it, instead of loving going on holiday because it's an escape from the matrix that they live in. Yeah.
Just go and do it if you can. There's no point in being unhappy. Like, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who are unhappy in their life, and I don't understand why people would want to be unhappy. Like, you see all the time, even some people that come into the gym, they're miserable, mate. And like, I'm like, why would you want to live the majority of your life being miserable? Like, you want to be happy, surely, and you want to feed off positive, happy people, and then your world will be way more enriched than it was before. So yeah, we kind of try and create a positive atmosphere in the gym, and we just delete negativity really. So we've had members that we've got rid of in the past who were bad apples because they're not good for the gym, and it might cause a bit of a stir for a day, maybe a week at best, and then guess what? There's another day. Life moves on, and the business keeps going, and it's a better place because of it. Whilst these people are still very bitter that they're not part of it, but never look at themselves.
Yeah, we've had that. We've had half a dozen sort of like poison members who just make the experience a little bit negative for people, and we've done the same. We just messaged them and said, "Do you want to leave? Don't worry about paying the rest of the month. We'll give it you back." And it's always positive because it either gives someone a bit of a check that they need to stop being a dickhead, or they move on to something else and everybody's happier. Because you know your environment's really important, and it just changes your perspective on life. If someone comes in with a shit, look on the face and they're all mug and glum, then it brings everybody down. And equally, if you've got a buzzing environment, it's just like, think about Saturday morning class in the gym, mate, bouncing.
It's the best.
The best thing ever. Walking into the gym when the class is like going mid-workout, music on. Everyone's there having a good time. It's just the best place, mate.
It is. So yeah, this isn't a hard sell for Wakefield CrossFit or CrossFit. 3D, isn't it? All right, 3D.
Yeah, CrossFit.
Yeah. 3D, so this isn't a hard sell for that. But yeah, if you are listening and you're not a CrossFit member, go become a CrossFit member.
Honestly, like I just like think about training any other way. Like I just couldn't train any other way now. There's nothing I could.
It's hard to get around, and like you can vary it up. You can do a bit of bodybuilding, a bit of functional bodybuilding, but I just hate the old Globo gym environment. It's everybody's got their headphones, not talking to anybody. And that's once you've been in that community and that environment, it's very hard to like break away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't train with your top off in Globo as well, so there's no point.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
In November, not doing that. Not doing it. I went to a weightlifting gym once. Was working with a guy I've had on the podcast, actually, fantastic weightlifting coach called Sean McLaughlin. And I went into his gym. It's like a weightlifting gym and a Globo gym. And I was sweating my back out because I'd done like 4 reps. So I took my top off, and then one of the PTs who works there was like, "Fucking get that on your scruff."
You're not allowed to do that.
Whoops.
Yeah, who wants to be in a place like that, mate?
I know, sack that. Yeah. So, mate, the guys at your gym. So what I wanted to talk about was any people who come into your gym. So honesty is one of my values that we were talking about earlier. One of my guiding principles in life is honesty. How do you approach people and members who come into your gym who don't really know why they're there or like what they want out of it? Like they're like, I think I need to come to the gym. I think I need to be in shape. Do you know what I mean? Those sorts of members.
Good shout. I mean, I'm not a natural salesperson. This is why we have somebody in the gym who takes care of that, who is. So basically, I mean, our business is way better for taking that person on. But yeah, I do find it hard to sell to people. It's not natural to me. But basically, my main angle that I say to people is, well, if your car breaks down, do you go and get it fixed? How much money do you spend on your car every single month? And all that car does is get you to work and back. Whereas your health is the single most important thing in your life, or should be. It's not for a lot of people, but it should be. And why would you not invest a fraction of the cost of your car in keeping yourself fit and healthy, which will prolong your life, your longevity, and have you and give you a better quality of life overall? So take the £70 a month or whatever it is, £50 a month, whatever your membership is, and you times that by 12. It's not a big outlay.
Yeah, I like that because it compares like cost wise. That works really well. That because you bring money into it, and you should do, because there should be an investment in your health, and it should cost something. I think it should cost something. You could pay £9.99 and go to a pure gym, and it's shit.
Yeah,
it's absolutely shit. Like, what am I doing today? I don't know. Chest again. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. It's not a great environment. There's no guidance. There's no coaching. Your technique could be all over the gaff. And it is weird. It's a weird one, isn't it? Like to sell a membership, like almost like people think I need to go to the gym. They get in touch, and then like so the main thing I do is try and find out absolutely the deepest, darkest secret why they're coming to the gym. Like they might not even know it. They might not even know it. Like if it's someone who's overweight or whatever, you might find out that like the dad died of heart disease because they were overweight. And it's just like eventually just asking enough questions to get all the way down to that point. And then that's like, just like your guiding principles or values in life, that's your reason to stay at the gym.
Your why.
Keep coming to the gym. Yeah, your why. Because it's like, Dave, you had last week off, mate. Is everything okay? And it's like, oh, come be ass. It's like, Dave, do you want to, gently remind them of the why? Like, do you remember why you told me you want to come here? Like, we agreed that we'd come here to keep you at a certain weight, to build strength, to look good naked, and to stay away from whatever it is, like, to stay away from obesity, to stay away from heart disease and stress and all that sort of stuff. So it's just stuff like I've used that in the past, and I use that in most of my conversations with new or prospective members, and it usually works pretty well. But I love that car analogy, mate, because you pay a load of money for your car that just gets you to work.
If
your body's fucked, like, life's shit.
Of course it is. You'll need to use your car a lot more. So
mate, I get a bit of knee pain and I'm like, oh god damn, can't lift. Do you know what I mean? It's like I need a little bit of time. Do you know what I mean? It's rubbish.
Yeah. And like you say, people do put that monetary aspect onto it, and they go, well, it might be quite expensive, that £70 or whatever it is. And you go, well, yeah, but like you say, you got your programming, you've got the community, you've got we organize nights out, we have barbecues, we have loads of the groups divide off and they have nights out. You'll create a whole new community that you weren't necessarily around before. You've got 25 classes or whatever it is, like you're getting coached through it. Like there's a lot of value in that membership. So
it goes beyond, like, you look at it like a bank transaction every month and you're like, oh, that's a lot of money that I could spend that on a night out or take my missus out or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, but your quality of life, like playing with your kids when you're older, being confident if you ever do get an holiday to wear shorts around the pool or whatever it is. Like there's so many benefits to being in shape. And the main one is staying alive for longer with a better quality of life. And if this sort of, that I've never looked at statistics as much as I've looked at statistics over the past year and a half. And what I can see blatantly, obviously, is that the main thing that kills people is being overweight.
Oh,
that is it. And it's not like a fat. I hate that I have to even think about putting this disclaimer on it. I'm not fat shaming. I've got nothing. Like I started my job so I could help people who were overweight. That's what I do. That's why I educate myself. That's why I work so hard to help people be healthier and happier. So it's nothing to do with that. It's just that's the biggest thing, and it's just like totally normalized nowadays, and it's not highlighted. And I'm gonna tell this little story, and it's gonna sound proper harsh, but I'll just say now that I said it in a really nice way. But this guy comes into the gym who's been coming for since one of the lockdowns. I can't remember. Lovely guy, tries hard. He does everything right in the gym. He's overweight, like he's a good 20 or so kilograms overweight. And he comes in and says, Tom, I really want to get pull-ups. What should I do? And he's like, I'm going to try some lat pull downs and chin over bar holds. And I'm like, yeah. And the main thing, mate, is lose some weight.
Yeah.
It looked like, like a spear had just gone like in his neck, like he was gutted. He was gutted.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is the main thing holding you back, mate. You're pretty strong. But compared to your strength to body weight ratio is not great. You are overweight. Lose some weight and you'll have loads of pull-ups.
Yeah, mate, it's a tough one, especially when you're trying to say it to a female as well. I mean, obviously, guys have got got more upper body strength than a female naturally, unless they really work at it. But it depends on obviously the type of athlete, but if you're a big dude, yeah, you've got a lot of weight to carry. It's not going to be easy to pull yourself up there, but it's a lot easier to say it to a guy than it is to a female. So you have to kind of manipulate your words a little bit.
It's weird because I've found
try
with
and say it in
girls,
a nice way.
yeah, I found with girls that they tell me before I ask them. So before I get to it, I think girls are a little bit more self-aware, and they're like, I know I'm overweight. Do you know what I mean? Like they're they're just gonna tell you, and I'm like, yeah, and we need to get stronger as well.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. It's weird. It's very interesting that like people's self-awareness and a perception of themselves as athletes and as people. Like I remember the one girl started called Beth. She's lovely. She's mint. She's one of my favorite members, and she's lost 25 kilograms in like
epic.
Not that long either, mate. It's like it was less than a year anyway. She's done so well. And
so much weight.
When she started, she'd been coming like 3 weeks. She went, I'm going to get a pull up. And I was like, no, you're fucking not. You've got some serious words. I've got the text on my phone still. So funny. I was like, no, you're not. She's like, I'm going to get one by November. And I was like, you ain't. I said, next November, you have one. And next November, she did have 3 strict pull-ups. But
good lass.
We had we had a few chats. It wasn't just like, nah, can you sling your hook? Just managing expectations is a really important one, isn't it? I think.
Oh yeah, it's people skills, mate. Yeah, and knowing your members. But it's a huge thing. Like we touching on the obesity thing, it's massive, mate. I mean, we know for a fact that obesity costs, the wider cost of the NHS is £37 billion per year. That is an enormous amount of money. Like it's absolutely ridiculous.
End world hunger a couple of times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just a few, mate. Yeah. You've got now 28% of adults are obese and 36.2% of them are overweight. You've got kids between the age of 10 and 11, 21% of kids are obese, 14% are overweight. It's disgusting. We are in an obesity pandemic, not a COVID pandemic. And we know for a fact that being obese and being overweight increases your chance of being hospitalized by 78%. From COVID. Like these are just facts that people are just choosing to ignore. But why are we not doing anything about the obesity pandemic? Like why are we not giving incentives on health? If I believe for 1 second the government gave a fuck about our health, they would be doing stuff like creating incentives. They would be saying, look, like Vitality, they would be going, right, use this tracker. If you can hit 12,500 steps every single day, we'll give you a free coffee at the end of the week, or we'll give you, I don't know, a discount on your holiday. We'll give you 10% off your gas bill. We'll give you
your insurance should be lower. Do you know?
It could be anything, yeah.
I mean, I think it's is it in Russia? You do 30 squats and you get a free ride on the subway or something like that.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I didn't know that, but
I've seen something like that. But like, I mean, for me, mate, the incentive is being healthy, being capable. Like the incentive for me is a longer, happier life. Like incentive for me is like looking better naked and being like, man, I'm in shape and I'm not like embarrassed or ashamed about my body, because it says a lot. It says a lot about you, doesn't it?
Of course it does. And then you hold yourself better, your self-esteem improves, you become a more confident person, and your whole quality of life improves.
Yeah, you're a better fellow, you're a better wife, you're a better husband, you're a better dad, you're a better mate.
Got more energy. Yeah.
You're 100% you. You're not you with a load of anxiety and worries and stress because you're overweight or your health's in shit state. You're like, I'm me and I'm not asked. Like I'm confident, I'm healthy, I'm happy. And like,
why would you not want that? I always
think like healthy body, healthy mind anyway. And I don't believe that anybody who is in poor health could possibly have a fully healthy mind.
No, yeah, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. It's painful to look at when nothing that you see from the government is to improve your health. All it is to provide a magic pill, which is the vaccine. It's like, oh, don't worry about anything else. Don't. Why are we not putting adverts up about taking vitamin D? Why are we not putting adverts about nutrition and exercise and putting these stats up saying that if you are obese, you are more likely to end up in hospital through COVID? Look at the obese countries around the world. The countries that have got the lowest obesity rates have got the lowest deaths of COVID. It's not coincidence. This is basic stuff, but we're not advertising this. We're not trying to improve people's health. And it's down to our job as fitness professionals to try and do that. But we're fighting a losing battle, mate, because the people who come to the gym have already got an invested interest in it anyway. We're trying to target the other people who haven't been educated as well, who are struggling with their health, who might need that help and that kick up the arse. But the problem is, mate, is that these habits are driven in, and they've been driven in for a long time. And the biggest thing that I want to see from the government and schools is implementing this sort of shit in schools. I've said it ever since I got into the health. Absolutely, mate. Ever since I got into the health industry, I've been saying this, like, this needs to happen in schools. I worked in a school for a bit, and I did 6 weeks on trying to teach the kids how to eat well. And then there was another 2 weeks left in the term, and I spent loads of time on nutrients, macronutrients, what food you should be eating, blah, blah, blah. Went into it. And then 2 weeks before the end of term, he cut it out and he said, "Oh, we're having chocolate week this week, so I won't need you to do that class." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I've just spent 6 weeks trying to educate these kids about healthy eating, and you're doing a chocolate week, not a chocolate day, a chocolate week, leading up to a time of the year when everybody's really unhealthy, which was Christmas. I was like, what is that installing? And they need to be like, the countries around Europe, they've got low obesity rates. Employ this stuff in schools, mate. They have modules. This should be taught on the curriculum. Forget fucking sewing and woodwork, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Just teach people how to look after themselves, and then you will change a generation. Yeah. And then what will happen is they will take the next generation, and it will keep going. But it might take 3 generations to change that. But you will never change anything from the top down. You need to change it from the bottom up. And I'm really passionate about it, because I'm like, why are we not doing this? It's the simplest thing to do. You could be teaching this in schools, and you could change it, and we could all be healthier people. We could live longer. You can shave branches off a tree, mate, but you're never going to get to the root of the problem. And it blows my mind that this shit is not happening.
Yeah, it's super frustrating, mate. It's really frustrating. Like you said, it's when everyone comes to the gym, you tell everyone this and they just nod and be like, "Yeah, I totally agree, mate." But then you start talking about it in Tesco or anywhere else, and people are like, you've got 3 heads. Like you're the health freak, or the weirdo, or like, "Oh, that exercise stuff. How do you find the time to do that? How do you not find the time to do that?" Like, absolutely. You go through life without giving yourself a little bit of time to be a better person. And I'm not looking down my nose at anyone who doesn't exercise. But what I'm saying is that you're missing out on a massive aspect of life that could massively improve yours, and you can be there for your family for longer, and you're better.
Yeah, and I've witnessed.
You can argue as well that the government are actually opposing it. Like, eat out to help out. Jump on this jab and you're going to save everyone's life. Nah, go for a walk and stop eating so much shit and getting levered every Wednesday.
Yep. It's simple stuff, isn't it? And it really shouldn't be that complicated, but we make it complicated. But it's society nowadays. Like you say, we're normalizing obesity. Like, you're not allowed to fat shame. Well, I'm sorry, but I've been called selfish because I don't want to take the vaccine. I'm like, well, why am I selfish? Like, I look after myself. I eat well. I train hard. I keep myself in shape. I'm not a burden on the NHS. And yet you're wanting me to take something that I don't need because that'll make you feel better. Well, who's the selfish one? Am I the selfish one, or are you, for expecting me to do that? But we've all been like brainwashed into believing that people who don't want that, it's a selfish attitude, when I would argue the other way around.
Yeah, and I don't think that lots of people believe that you and I are selfish people. Like, I've spoken to people who've had it, doctors and everyone alike. They don't think any less of me are taking it. I think that it's being portrayed through social media that if you don't take it, you're selfish. Whereas a lot of people who've had it are just like, yeah, fine, you do you. So I think it's like, it's pushed that way, isn't it? It makes us feel that way. And that's part of it. That's part of the ploy, the scheme to get us on it by guilting us into it. But I think that comes through social media, mate. I don't think it comes through actual people who've got a brain, because they're like, it's like this sort of I heard this analogy the other day, mate. It was like, Dan, I've got new sunglasses, but mine won't work unless yours are on. You know what I mean? It's insane, and I've definitely
Of course it is, mate. Yeah,
so
because it's true, mate. It's good, but you say that about like some people don't think that, but I think in the gym environment we're surrounded by people who are in our mindset. And I said this to one of my friends the other day. I said, well, everybody I speak to is not worried about COVID, and he's like, well, that's because you hang around like fitness freaks and athletes, whereas I'm hanging around my mum and dad. So there is the other side of that, and there are some people I know for a fact who do think that like that. But you know, like you say, we've been manipulated into thinking like that. Or is that just how you think?
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, like thinking about it that way, like you made me think about that. Like there are people who you do see in Tesco who are like pear-shaped, and they are probably just terrified of the telly.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and they've been told you're going to die from this if you get it. Like, you know, get told that every day of your life for a year and a half, and probably going to start believing it.
Mate, yeah, he's like listening to myself talking to you sometimes. Like I said this, I was even talking about it yesterday at the game. I was like, somebody sits you down. Basically, last year you were told to sit inside and not go out, which is very bad for your health anyway. And then you just plonk you in front of a television and they're hammering it down your throat every single day, 5, 6, 7 times a day on the news. So if I sat next to you every day and every hour I went, mate, Tom, you're a bit of a knobhead, you. And I said that to you every single hour for 6 months, you're probably going to start thinking you're a bit of a knobhead after about a week, let alone 18 months.
I am, to be
fair. We all can be, mate. Yeah. But it's true. And it's, you know, it's very easy to control people's minds like that.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking outside the box.
I sent you that video a couple of months ago, didn't I, from Academy of Ideas on like mass psychosis.
Did, yeah.
Can sanity return? And he's a really clever guy, whoever he is. He cites a lot of Carl Jung, and he said talks about how fear is used to make people comply, because when people are fearful, you can just get them to do whatever you want, anything you want. Absolutely. You know, if you the most powerful thing that you can use over somebody is the fear of death. You know, take life away from someone, and people, that's it. People are like, right, well, I don't want to die. I'll do anything you say at that point. And then if they're not bothered about themselves, they worry about the loved ones or the family or whatever it is, the friends. So yeah, you know, they've done a very good job of terrifying people.
The thing with all this again is like there's so many different aspects to it, but I've said it all along, is the collateral damage, and we don't hear about anything else other than COVID. Apparently there's only one virus, disease, illness right now. There's only COVID. Whereas people say, oh well, you haven't had anybody seriously affected by COVID, and I'm like, no, I haven't. And to be honest, I don't know that many people that have, but at the same point, I have had somebody seriously affected to cancer, because my auntie could not get a doctor's appointment for 3 months. She had to do Zoom appointments with a doctor because they wouldn't let her into the fucking surgery, which is ridiculous, when she needed to see somebody. So they gave her antibiotics, 3 lots of antibiotics. She missed 3 appointments. Well, not missed 3 appointments, had Zoom appointments 3 times. She was given 3 lots of antibiotics. And then she's been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer and ovarian cancer. And mate, I hope she's not. She won't mind me speaking about it, but she hasn't got that long left. So I do know somebody who has been directly affected by it indirectly.
There's been so many. Apparently there's been thousands of undiagnosed cancers and illnesses.
Of course there is.
I've got there's a lovely girl who comes to the gym, and she's just got a new job in Manchester hospitals, and it's called the COVID recovery. And I'm like, right, what's that? Like more recovery stuff from COVID? And she's like, no, it's from all the missed surgeries and undiagnosed patients, like the massive backlog. Like they're giving people jobs to start seeing NHS patients again.
Yeah. Mate,
it's take insane. Control.
It's insane, to recover from. It's absolutely insane. Now, nobody's saying that any death is good or more important than the other, but you are made to feel like that COVID death is more important than any other death. And it's just about being disproportionate. You've got to look at it from every angle, and there's more than just COVID going on right now. And when people can't get a simple doctor's appointment, something's wrong.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah, I really feel for you, mate. That's absolutely horrendous, and
it's shocking.
It's sad to think that there's many more people out there like that, who've been living with something, you know, that can be potentially like really harmful like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Super sad. But other than that, like proactively, you know, we can all change the way we live for the better. And if you are worried about COVID, if you are worried about, you know, ischemic heart disease, if you are worried about any of those things, like taking ownership of your own health and the way you live is the most powerful thing you can do in the short and long term. Like there's nothing else you could do. No one's going to come in and save you. It's, you know, no external factor is going to change you more than you going out and sorting yourself out, seeking some advice, getting a coach, joining Wakefield CrossFit, like whatever it is that you do, like CrossFit Wakefield. Sorry, whatever you do.
Whatever you enjoy, basically, just go and find something you enjoy. And then that's the only thing. If you don't enjoy it, you won't do it. There's something out there for everybody.
Yeah. Like, you bet you know loads of lads who've like taken up cycling or like fucking whatever. Like, you know, like it doesn't have to be CrossFit. It doesn't have to be anything. It could be football. It could be rock climbing, whatever it is. Just something that you buzz off, go and do it and get out of breath and sweaty and strong doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, it's like you said, it's completely empowering. I just wish more people were like it. But unfortunately, I don't want to seem like a negative Nelly, but it needs to be changed in schools. Otherwise, we're not going to see a shift in society. And there's only an upward trend with obesity and people being overweight. And I can't see it changing anytime soon, unfortunately. But absolutely, mate. Yeah, I'd say there's probably only a handful. Maybe I can count on two hands the amount of people who you've completely transformed their life, you know, when they've gone from, say, like you say, like somebody's lost 25 kilos, like there's probably only about 10 people in your whole fitness journey that you can say that's happened. Most of them you've definitely improved, but a lot of them, they've got into bad habits. But you wish you could help and change everybody. That's our job, mate. And I do care for people's health. And posting shite about COVID is a way that I'm trying to get it out there that there is another way, and you don't have to be scared of this. You can go and look after yourself and take ownership of it, because that is empowering.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I'm totally on your page, and I think that like I'd like to start, you know, sharing that sort of information a bit more, because it's more proactive, it's more positive than just saying this is bollocks.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we need to say that, and we need to point it out to people that it's okay to think anything different, because it is, people need to think a bit differently. But on the flip side of it, we do need to start promoting that health is everything, and like you've got a bank account with your health, you know, as well as the one that, you know, you earn your money into and you put your money in. Yeah, mate, it's been absolutely class catching up. It's been brilliant to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed the game last night.
I certainly did, mate. That's why I'm a little bit croaky. But I'm going to do it all again on Sunday, because I've got a ticket for the final as well. So happy days.
Hey, you don't have to jump through all these hoops, mate. You don't have to sell your soul to live your life. Like that you're a great example of that, mate. But thank you very much, pal. It's been mint catching up, and we'll definitely do this again soon. Thanks very much for listening, guys.
Thanks for having us, bud.